Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 16 of the You'll Have That podcast. Today we're pre-recording it. We got a nice cozy fireplace for your viewers, and I'd like to welcome, Twiz. Twiz, hello,
Hello.
and myself, Wassup. It's gonna be a short episode today, and we might not have an episode this week. Might be the week after. We'll see based on some travels that we gotta do. But yeah, I mean, it's a short episode. We're just gonna kind of relax, talk about a few topics. Not too much has been happening. So I guess to start off here, there's been a pretty big development with Helldivers 2 that just happened, or sorry, is about to happen tomorrow, I believe, May 6th. And that the fact that Helldivers 2 is now going to require you to have a Activision account linked, so like a PlayStation Network account.
PlayStation Network.
Yeah, sorry, nothing to do with Activision. My bad on that one. A PlayStation account. Yeah, sorry. So this is akin to like a bait and switch because in the beginning when you bought the game, you could skip that option, but now it's being required to play the game. And there's certain areas, like for example, Iran I think is one of them where you can't. There's no Activision, or sorry, there's no PlayStation
Well,
network there, and
you
Russia.
have you have China, Russia,
Hmm.
Vietnam, North Korea,
Yep.
of course. Um, Places like that don't have it. Ukraine, as a matter of fact, if you don't own a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5, you cannot create an account in
I didn't
Ukraine.
know that. Wow.
So basically, is what they're saying is, oh, hey, you bought this game? Well, buy a PlayStation or get fucked. Stay fucked. Pretty much. So it's kind of scummy what PlayStation is doing. I
And to
don't think that this has anything to do with the actual
I was about to
developers of
say, yeah.
Helldivers itself. I
Arrowhead
think that it's a
Studios, yeah.
PlayStation thing, just so that they can boost their numbers of people with PlayStation Network accounts, which is,
It's Sony, yeah.
it's stupid. Um,
Well, it's like a marketing thing, right? So like Sony wants to essentially impress the investors and be like, we have 300,000 new users on our PlayStation network and this and that. And this is a stupid decision because you're alienating people from different parts of the world and you're literally doing a bait and switch to those people that paid for the game, were able to play it, and now all of a sudden cannot.
Right. And they also updated their terms of service agreement to basically say it once read that if a game was available on PC or another platform, you would not PSN
It was optional.
account
Yeah.
was not required. Now it says some games may require you to have a PSN account. Um,
So we've
this is
seen
in,
this with Escape from Tarkov, kind of. Remember that whole debacle with last episode, with the different versions. They kind of went back and edited their terms of service and stuff like that.
Well, and that's also what I'm kind of concerned about as well is what happens, right?
Mm.
In which this may not happen, but it's a possibility. What happens whenever Sony gets greedy enough to say, "Okay, you have the PSN network or PlayStation Network account,
Yeah.
but to be able to play these games, you have to pay.
Yep.
You have to have the paid version of the PlayStation Network account to be able
Yeah.
to play, even if you're not on that console." And to be honest, they're just scummy enough to actually do that,
I
in my
completely agree.
opinion.
I'm glad you brought that
I,
up. Yeah.
I know a couple of people that I've talked to are all like, no, they're not going to do that. And it's all like, but will they not? Like, no, I think that that's kind of what they're moving to, not only to, you know, falsely inflate their numbers
Yeah.
of PlayStation Network accounts, but to also squeeze money out of more people. It's
It's stupid. I
it's all
think.
fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I'm so over it. And if they think that doing this is going to get people to buy their other games that are coming to other platforms, I think that this is going to make people think at least twice, if not three times, before they purchase a PlayStation
Well,
exclusive game
this
or something
concerns
like
me
that.
because Ghost of Tsushima is coming out in 10 days.
Yeah, I
Are
know.
they going to pull this as well?
I have a feeling that that's what they're gonna do.
And it's a single player game, so like even dumber. Well, it has a multiplayer aspect. Let me correct myself. But it's predominantly a single player game, right? It's a
Mhm.
story driven single player game, so there's zero advantage to have a PlayStation Network account. Unless
Right.
you're, I guess maybe the multiplayer part, sure. But even then, you don't need it. It's literally a useless overhead for the consumer. It's just an inconvenience. And this whole
Right.
trend of everyone having their own account, right? You need an account for everything nowadays. Ubisoft, you need an account, right?
Mhm.
Even if you're playing it through Steam, it'll actually open the Ubisoft launcher, like Rainbow Six Siege, for example. I have personal experience with that one.
Which is annoying. Oh my god.
EA launcher, right? You buy Battlefield, even through Steam, you gotta open that, and it opens the EA launcher, and you need an EA account. It's like, why do you need so many accounts? Just consolidate things to their own, their own service.
Let's put as much bloatware on people's PCs as we possibly fucking can.
Right, right.
That's pretty much what it is, and quite frankly, I'm sick of it. I know a lot of gamers that are sick of it. It's all bullshit. Like, it would be one thing if it's all like, okay, you need a Ubisoft account to own this game, right?
Yeah.
So you paid the money, you have the Ubisoft account, own this game. You paid the money, you have the PlayStation Network account, you own this game. But hey, we are having to download this bloatware, have these accounts, remember these fucking usernames
Passwords
and
and
passwords to not even own the games, people. PlayStation,
yeah.
which, you know, I think we can bundle both of these topics into one. PlayStation Network has followed Ubisoft's fucking footsteps with their terms of service agreements, updating it to where you don't own your games now. It is a licensing contract. So
hmm
the games that you're paying for, you do not own them.
That's a
I
good
think it's
point.
all I think it's all bullshit. Again, bait and switch. Bait and fucking switch to the fullest extent.
And I
Because
kind of want to ask you something because we're actually seeing a lot of pushback from gamers, which is a new, that's refreshing. And in fact, a lot of gamers are kind of speaking with their wallets, which I think is the only way that these mega corporations are going to listen. Where Steam is offering refunds even to those that have exceeded the 2 hour play limit, and we're seeing overwhelmingly negative now on Steam. So what do you think
about
this?
Helldivers,
Yeah, yeah. So what do you think this says now, maybe about potential companies that are going to want to do this in the future?
hopefully it makes them think twice. And to be honest, I think that everybody that purchased Helldivers on PC should refund it. They should straight. I get that it's a fun game. I get it. That's understandable that you really like it and
hmm
everything. But if you continue to take this shit laying down and you do not refund these games whenever you're being given the option to do so because of the blatant bait and switch, these companies are just going to get more and more brazen. They are going to make you start paying subscriptions for games that you have purchased just to have access to. Like, we have really got to take a stand here and make these companies understand that this is not right, particularly in the financial climate that we're in. Like, we've talked about this a lot. It's getting to where people can't afford groceries, they can't afford rent, mortgage,
Yep,
power,
yep.
water, gas, and then the fucking gaming companies want to pull this bullshit and make it to where, oh, you don't technically own this. We can pull it out of your library anytime that we want. What's to stop them from, we buy a 70, 80, 90, $100 game, we play it for a month, and then they take it away from us because we don't own it.
And
Like, is it worth it at that point?
and to the viewers, I actually have it pulled up. You can see the big graph where the red is dipping and it's massive. So yeah, there's a ton of overwhelming negative reviews. In fact, over 100,000, over
Good.
200,000 actually.
I
So,
feel bad. I feel bad for the creators of the game.
mhm,
I do. I truly do. But, you know, at this point, like game developers need to start looking and understanding who the fuck they're getting into bed with and make
exactly,
better decisions
exactly.
instead of being all like, you know what, we have this idea and
Mm.
we're going to go to whoever's going to take this idea that
Well,
we think going to take this idea the furthest.
Arrowhead Studios, if you don't, if you you may correct me, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure they're a first party studio with Sony. So they're one of Sony's studios. Oh, Sony owns the studio, I believe. So in that regard, I don't think they could just simply go into different publisher and etc. But I actually want to ask you another question. So do you think this outcome would have been different had they explicitly stated that you needed?
Sony bought Arrowhead. They bought Arrowhead
Yeah, so
right
it is
after Helldivers.
oh, okay. All right. Well, fair enough. Helldivers 1, 2. Okay.
So
So,
no, now that I know that, I don't fucking feel bad for the creators of the game.
mhm. Okay, fair enough.
They already sold out.
Yeah. Now, do you think if had they explicitly stated that you needed a PlayStation account linked from the beginning instead of this bait and switch shit, do you think this would have been received the same? Maybe
I
not
don't
as
think it would have been.
bad.
I don't think that it would have been as bad, but I still think that it's a shitty thing. Like, look, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
we were able to purchase it on Steam.
Right.
You already need a Steam account.
Yep.
Steam has its own fucking library.
Correct.
Why can't we just have a Steam account and enjoy our games instead of having to purchase it on Steam, open up this third party bullshit? And I'll tell you why. It's the licensing. That way they can pull it out of your fucking library at any time they want.
That's a good point. And Asmongold said something, and I think they would have a lot less blowback than this if had they incentivized people. So if you link it, you get a free outfit, you get a free whatever cosmetic something. But there's
But that makes it optional at that point. They're making it optional, which yeah, a lot of people are going to do it, but there's still going to be a lot of people that don't. So whenever they take away and they don't incentivize and they make you do it, like, hey, you can't play this game, guess
Mhm.
what? There people are going to do it because they have no other choice.
Right.
And I don't like companies, and you know what? I'm just going to put this out there. My solar company found out real quick that I don't like it whenever a company removes my choices of
Yeah.
what I do with my money
Yeah.
and my purchases. That's exactly what Sony is doing. They
Exactly.
are
You're right.
removing your choice to do this or not and saying, you know what? Fuck you. You have to do this. And matter of fact, even though you didn't have to do it whenever the game first came out, because we own the company now you have to do it.
And just looking at one of the reviews now, I'm watching it. I'll zoom in so you viewers can see it real quick. So this person here said, you can purchase this game from all over the globe. You can only play it if you're in one of Sony's 69 approved countries. The 3 months of players who ain't from the list now have a brick of a game. How does that seem fair? And I almost feel like if this was done and you couldn't play it in the US, this would actually be a lawsuit. This would be a bait and switch lawsuit. And it's kind of sad that the countries that Sony doesn't approve of or have pretty different laws. So I guess maybe perhaps it's not as black and white in that regard. But it kind of almost makes you wonder, like, is there a legality to this? Is there a case here in the sense that players were able to play this for 3 months and it was never stated that you need this? But now all of a sudden it's been changed and the TOS has been changed. And essentially those people that are blacklisted or not in the countries that Sony operates in are out of their game. It's a brick. It is a brick of a game. You cannot play it. Your services have been terminated essentially.
Pretty much. Personally, to be honest, I kind of want to just go back to buying physical copies of games.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Whether it be PlayStation, Xbox, even computer games, I will plug in a CD-ROM drive or a DVD or a Blu-ray, whatever, into my system because this shit is getting wild. This shit telling me that I don't own something that I paid for whenever I can go into any fucking big box store, purchase the copy itself, and then I own it. It's essentially the same thing because you got to take the disc, bring it home, put it into the system. It downloads onto your hard drive,
Right.
and then you own it. So and it's the same price. What's the fucking difference? There is none other than the fact that it's a digital copy, and the companies can be all like, "Oh, just kidding." It's bullshit.
Not to mention, another thing actually that this reviewer says, PlayStation or Sony Interactive, or sorry, Jesus, Sony, they've had multiple data breaches. So there are some people that are like, I don't want to make an account because Sony has been hacked numerous times. That's another thing. You have all these services that want to make, they want you to make an account. But how secure are they? How secure is your data now that it's spread out on so many different services? You can't keep track of it. You don't know. It just goes to show that corporate greed.
Your doctor's office has your information. You have logins and passwords for your doctor's office. You have logins and passwords for your power bill,
Yeah.
your internet bill, your cell phone, your water, your mortgage, probably your rent, your car payment, your car insurance,
Mm-hmm.
homeowner's insurance if you have it, renter's insurance. And then on top of that, you've got Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, whatever the hell else, plus YouTube, plus Twitch, plus PlayStation Network, plus Xbox, plus Steam, plus Ubisoft. And the list goes on and on and on and on. And the more people you give this information to, the more likelihood that you're going to be involved in some sort of data breach. And at this point, I'm just wondering, is there anyone in America or in any of these other 69 countries that hasn't been involved in a data breach?
That's a very fair statement. Absolutely. And to those of you that want to be a little bit more secure, I would encourage you guys to use like a password manager and then have it generate passwords for you for these different services that are completely random and different. This way, at least you can minimize the risk of you having your password stolen and then multiple accounts stolen because you use the same password. But other than that, really, there's not much you can do as a consumer because these mega corporations, unfortunately, it's in their hands. You are playing their games, and then essentially they can do whatever they want, as we can see here. So,
And just a little disclaimer, we're not sponsored or anything, but I would say don't use Norton. I would go with Bitwarden, being that Bitwarden is free.
Norton doesn't have a pass. I think you're talking
Yes,
about
they do.
LastPass.
No, Norton also has, or Nord VPN has a password manager.
Oh,
So does
okay.
Norton. They have a password manager.
Well, fuck Norton. No, don't use Norton. Period. It's a scam, and it's been proven it's
Or
garbage.
McAfee.
So. McAfee, yeah.
Yeah, don't use any of those. I would use Bitwarden because it is free. And
It's open source. You can actually host a server on your own network if you want.
Yep, and it's pretty secure. So that's
So if you guys use LastPass, it's essentially just like LastPass, just open source and not as scummy as LastPass with their move to make it to where you can only have it on one device at a time or some shit like that. That was a terrible move, but I quit using LastPass for that reason.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it just it goes to show corporate greed. Even though you think you found one good game, right? Still, corporate greed rules all. It's just so sad. It's so sad that it's almost impossible to find passionate, just a good passionate product. It's literally almost impossible. Whether it be gaming, whether it be solar, whether it be plumbing, whatever it is, really.
Speaking of corporate greed, just to touch on our favorite studio, Activision, now has skins that have came out that are $100 plus, and the only way to get them is if you go to the Activision store and purchase real life items from the Activision store amounting in at least $100.
You mean like their merch, like the t-shirts and stuff like that?
Yes,
Oh wow.
and all it is gun camos, and the camos are trash.
Well, I don't think it's the fact that the camos are trash. It's more of an exclusivity thing, right? So they essentially there are some players. I'm not saying you're one of them, but some people want the exclusivity to feel like, wow, I got something no one else has. And $100 price tag's pretty steep, so it is gonna
Makes my
eliminate.
fucking eye twitch.
It is gonna make some people not be able to afford that. But yeah, that's disgusting. I mean, we saw that they had the was it $50?
No, $80.
Oh, it was
It was
$80.
$80
Oh yeah,
for the gauntlet.
Yeah, the gauntlet.
Yep.
And now we're up.
I
did say
$100.
this. I did say that if you guys support this, they're going to keep going worse and worse. And here you go. We're seeing it right now. You know, and what's next? $250 crazy supporter packs like Escape from Tarkov. You know, if anyone's gonna do it, it's definitely Activision. So we'll see. But yeah, it is rather unfortunate.
These companies are just trying to bleed gamers completely dry.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's like I said, it's just absolutely demoralizing. You know, the fact that it really is almost impossible to find just a passionate like for the game or by the gamer sort of developer anymore. Or publisher rather. I know Asmongold has a publishing company, so maybe we'll see a shift in that because he is an avid gamer. He's a streamer, so he's more involved in the whole entire scene rather than all these corporates that are very more about money. They don't really understand the whole gaming thing. So we'll see. Maybe that'll be like a diamond in the rough. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, just sad. But and to kind of shift gears here, you said Activision. So another thing that Activision, one of Activision's studios, is Vicarious Games, I think. They actually just canceled a 3D Donkey Kong game that was in development for a little bit. So that's unfortunate, I guess there wasn't enough interest. But I know, like, for you, probably Donkey Kong was your childhood, right? It's a big part of it.
Yeah, it was. But at the same time, a 3D Donkey Kong, I don't know how that would really go over. Crash Bandicoot, absolutely, because it was already a 3D game whenever it came out on I believe the PlayStation 1. Yeah, either PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2. I can't quite remember. The Donkey Kong was, just this linear, kind of like a better graphics version of Mario, just with monkeys.
Well, they did Mario in 3D, so it theoretically could happen.
I mean, yeah, but like for me, I solely like the old school Mario. To be honest, I don't like the Mario 3D bullshit. Even if today, if they came out with another Mario game, same 8-bit everything, just new levels, stuff like that, I would play shit out of that.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but there's a lot of community Mario games that are completely custom, and so there's a ton, and I do mean a ton of custom Mario games that you can go into if you want the 8-bit original kind of atmosphere.
I might have to check that out because, like, yeah, I would play the hell out of it. Like,
do you remember Metroid?
3.
Metroid was part of my childhood. There's a ton of fan-made Metroid stuff too, so that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So continuing on the whole gaming thing, I don't know if you've heard of a game called Stellar Blade, but it's kind of like a Souls-like sort of game. Its art style is pretty cool in my opinion. Its main character is a little bit she's pretty hot, I would say.
Its main character is a Tatiana.
I would say it's a little provocative, right? But there was a whole controversy because the developers nerfed one of the outfits. It was like a bunny outfit. It was a little bit too revealing, I suppose, and they did change it up a little bit. So I kind of wanted to broaden this in the sense that, what do we think about people getting butthurt over a simple like game with a certain art style like that? I mean, I'm in the mindset of It's a game. You know, these games can exist. We had Laura Croft. Remember that Tomb Raider? I mean, she was that was a pretty attractive, I would say, main protagonist in the game, and a lot of people. I
I mean,
think.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you couldn't see much of anything. But I will say that there are other games that you can see everything,
Well, of
male
course,
or
right. Of
female.
course, right.
And so, you know, changing up an outfit because it's a little too provocative. I mean, if that's been the art style to begin with, then why are you changing it up? If people have a problem with it, don't play the game.
That
You
and
know,
you know the people that
um,
complain about this are 9 out of 10 times not even the ones that play the game, right?
right? They're the ones that walked through the living room and got a little bit jealous because their body doesn't look like that. I don't mean to sound mean. That's probably a hot take, but that's exactly what it is. Um, I'm kind of tired of this prudish um, outlook on video games, music, and TV. Like, look, especially in the days that we're in now, we're in like just streaming straight up. So if you don't like something, and there are warnings and disclaimers everywhere on everything,
Hmm.
you don't like a particular thing like smoking, foul language, drug use, um, explicit content,
Yeah.
then don't watch it.
I'm
That's
kind
all
of
you have to do.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same mindset. You know, the game originally had an art style, right? And you could tell it was supposed to be a provocative main character. You know, that's what they were going for, which is fine. There's a market for that. You know, who am I to judge? Um, but you know, they shouldn't change the whole kind of. They're not changing the whole game. I don't want to blow it out of proportions, right? But you know, if people want that provocative outfit, hey, you know, that's the market. That's who wants that outfit. If you don't want it, you don't have to get that outfit. You don't have to wear it. You don't have to do anything with it.
Don't watch the show, don't watch the movie, don't listen to the music, don't play the game, you know, the don't listen to the podcast, don't whatever. It
Yep.
doesn't matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have freedom of choice. You do not have to do or play or watch or listen to these things. So why are you getting involved, Karen? These people remind me of the overzealous HOA presidents. That's
Ve-
exactly what they remind me of, and
yeah.
they all need to fuck off and like get a hobby to take up their time instead of making other people's lives as miserable as they are.
Yeah, definitely definitely see what you're saying there. And HOA's homeowner association. Um yeah, I think you're kind of right there. I mean, it's again, no one's forcing you to play those games. You could simply just not play it. Um Not every game that comes out is going to be made for everyone. Not to mention, by doing this, you're homogenizing the whole entire genre. You're essentially going to have the same game come out over and over again because it's going to have such a limited vision that they can use. You're narrowing the box. You're closing the box in terms of the creative freedom people have. So I'm kind of just wanting to kind of gloss over that and kind of expand a little bit in the sense that, yeah, I agree with you. These, you know, if you don't like it, just don't play it. It's that simple. Not everyone has to have the same thing. Um, but some interesting, shifting gears here, some interesting stuff in the hardware realm. We just had some new memory that was demoed at 600 degrees Celsius for 60 hours. So that's crazy. That is crazy hot. 600 degrees Celsius.
Now, what kind of memory is this? Is this VRAM? Is it DDR5? Is it?
It's none of those because none of those can run at those speeds.
Well, yeah,
Sorry,
that's
none of those
why
can.
I'm asking.
So it's a new type of memory. We don't know it. Well, I don't know. It's still pretty cutting edge. It's more of a experiment that they were doing. But this type of memory may be a hint towards the future of memory, where we can have we can run it hotter and faster, because it can withstand it. 600 degrees Celsius is a ton of wiggle room compared to our current memory limits. And running it for 60 hours at that temperature just proves to you that it's pretty stable. But yeah, it'd be kind of crazy. Maybe we're gonna see a huge leap or a whole new type of memory. Who knows? But it'd be pretty awesome, you know. What do you think?
I think that it's awesome. Um, you know, currently we're stuck at like what is it like 95 degrees
No,
Celsius
for RAM, I think
per round.
it's a little different. Let me check real quick. So we'll do temp limit for D5 for RAM. Let's see. I think it's gonna be. Oh, it is 95. Okay, so it looks like
Okay.
it's 95 degrees Celsius is like the cutoff. So at that point, your system's probably gonna shut down to save itself.
So yeah,
Um,
we're looking at a little over 6 times that. So yeah,
mhm.
I love tech, and if we can raise the limits and raise the bar of what we already have, that's awesome. You know, it'll definitely be something to keep our eyes on and look to for the future.
You know, I think this is probably gonna first see itself in like servers and enterprise level, and
Oh,
it'll trickle
absolutely.
down to consumers in like a couple years and stuff once it's past that. Um,
Hmm.
but you know the opportunities here are pretty awesome because if you think about it, we're limited in terms of temperature. That's our main kind of issue here when it comes to overclocking and achieving speeds and pumping more voltage. You know, you can pump more voltage to something and raise the clock speed, but you're going to be limited by the temperature. So now that we have 6 times more the temperature as a possibility, we can even pump the clock speeds even higher, give it more voltage, and over time it's going to be more efficient so we can reduce the voltage and still maintain those clock speeds. So I think that's pretty impressive and definitely exciting. We'll see maybe in like 3 or 4 years this will have some official product come out and we can kind of follow that.
Absolutely.
And kind of the last thing, like I said, guys, it's kind of a short episode. We're just kind of talking. Um, one of the last things I kind of want to touch on is just some childhood shows that I wanted to share and kind of how they compare with today's shows and stuff like that. We were talking about this with Zazzy, and I just thought it'd be kind of cool to talk about, you know, how your childhood shows are different than mine, and I'm sure my childhood shows are different than, you know, the next gen and so on and so forth. Um, so just some childhood shows that you used to watch. What are they? You know, just sharing with viewers.
Uh, Batman, Power Rangers, Lord, uh, Scooby Doo, of course, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Powerpuff Girls, um, Robot Chicken, uh, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, um, The Simpsons, South Park.
Ah, it's just a childhood show. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, those are my childhood shows, man. Like from the age of as young as 10, I was watching, Aqua Teen. Well, I might have been 12 whenever Aqua Teen came out, but uh 10 years old with South Park and The Simpsons and stuff like that. Probably even younger for The Simpsons. Um, but yeah, like I was all over the grungy cartoon scene. Metalocalypse. That was another one that I watched. So yeah. What about
Interesting.
you? I know a few. I believe SpongeBob is one, in which I watched a few episodes. Well, a couple of seasons of SpongeBob, but it really.
I actually have a little story. I was at Burger King and there was a contest. Um, it was like SpongeBob themed, and the winner would get like a cassette, a VHS cassette of like a few episodes or a season of SpongeBob.
How old were you?
Oh, I was
Are
like,
you sure it was a VHS and not like DVD?
no, it was a tape. It was a tape box. Yeah, I was like 7 years old.
Okay.
There was DVD in the time that I won this. It's just they were, I don't know why they had a VHS tape. This was back, I think, when VHS and DVD were still both existing. And VHS was
Well,
the cheaper of the two.
Now, I had the majority of the Scooby Doo movies on VHS, like Zombie Island, Alien Invaders, Witch's Ghost.
Yep.
I had a shit ton of Scooby Doo movies on VHS. But yeah, like
To finish that story though, I won it and I got that SpongeBob season. Watched it a lot.
nice.
Yeah, I was pretty big into SpongeBob, Scooby Doo. I was pretty big into Courage the Cowardly Dog. I watched that. I watched some Cartoon Network stuff too, like Fairly Odd Parents, Ben 10.
Ben 10 was my shit. Fairly Odd Parents, in and out. I didn't like, just because it was on, I wasn't tuning into it like that.
Gotcha. I
I
watched a
know.
little bit of Naruto, Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, Avatar: The Last Airbender, I was all on, and Naruto as well. Inuyasha,
Didn't watch that.
Bleach.
I watched Bleach as an adult, not as a child. But had I seen it as a child, that'd have been really cool, really badass. Yeah. Let's see. What is it? Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. That was pretty big. Really, you didn't see that one? Oh, okay. What? Oh, Kids Next Door. Teenage Mutant. Sorry. Teen Titans.
Kids Next Door. And Teen Titans.
Teen Titans was a big one.
I watched Teen Titans as well. I know a lot of people that are a little bit younger than me. I'd say between the 5 to 8 year range. A lot of those kids were Disney kids, and I wasn't a very big Disney.
Oh, Disney
kid.
Channel. Yeah, I was pretty big in Disney Channel, like Zoe 101, Drake and Josh.
Nope.
I'm sure there's other ones that I'd be like, oh yeah. Oh, Cody, Zach and Cody or something. The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. I don't know, something. What else was there? There was the one that had Selena Gomez in it. It was to do with magic.
Are you talking about Wizards of Waverly Place?
Wizards of Waverly Place. I saw that.
I watched a little bit of that, and I watched The Wild Thornberries.
I think I've seen a little bit of that one too. But yeah, those were pretty good. Yeah, I figured we just talk about them and stuff like that. It's so interesting how like all the kids shows have phases almost, or like generations, where like our stuff is, you don't have those shows anymore, but now there's something completely different. There's like
Scooby Doo has been the staple, to be honest.
Scooby Doo's still going, I think. Yeah, they just had a new one come out, but
Scooby Doo's been going since like the 70s.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. There you go. I don't know if they're as popular as they used to be, but they're still going. I think. Yeah, that's all I can remember. But yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything else you want to talk about? Nope. Okay. Well, guys, like we said, it's gonna be a short one. A little pre-recorded episode for you guys. Please visit us on Spotify. Just type in "You'll Have That." It's that podcast by Wassup. And at YouTube, please subscribe, like, comment. We read all the comments if you comment. And we're open to suggestions. And thank you so much for listening and tuning in. And just a heads up again, next week, or this week technically, we might not have an episode. So just a heads up on that. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys. I'm Wassup.
I'm Twiz. Always remember and never forget, you'll have that.
You'll have that. And we're heading out, signing off.